Screen actors, are you adjusting well to this new world of auditions, self-tapes and Zoom auditions? Many actors aren't. They find it all too technical and impersonal, and that is stopping them from booking roles. In this video, I'm going to share with you a wonderful Zoom audition I had just a few days ago for a national TV commercial, and you're also going to learn about the powerful mindset that you can easily adopt that will help you to love Zoom auditions and to be able to reach right through that screen, touch the person on the other side no matter where they are, make an impact, and start getting the work that you deserve. I'm Louis DiBianco, and this is my channel, Screen Acting Success. This is where you come every Friday for tips, techniques, and secrets to help you become a more compelling, successful working actor in demand. Everything you learn here is stuff that I learned in the real world. It's not theory. This is stuff that works. I learned it by being in front of the camera as an actor for more than 40 years and by teaching so many others to go on and have really wonderful, successful on-camera careers. If this is your first time here, definitely click subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Oh, and stick around to the end because I will give you a powerful free training. I'll give you access to it. Okay, my wonderful audition. Wonderful because I enjoyed it so much. There were actually two of them. One was the first round where they just kind of figure out if they're going to bother with you again. And that one, well, there were some things in it that could have thrown me off. I'm in the Zoom waiting room and suddenly there's another person on the screen, but I can't see her because she's not sharing her camera. Just her name on the screen, Karen. Karen tells me that she would like me to do the first line of the audition with her, interacting with me, even though I can't see her. I do it, and then she asked me to jump to the last line. She didn't ask me to do the middle of the scene. I did that, and then she asked me to stand up and walk back and forth so they could see what I look like standing and walking. Did all of that. It took less than 2 minutes. She politely thanked me, and she was gone. Now, a less than 2 minute audition, what would you think? Well, she decided very quickly I wasn't right. Wrong. 2 days later, I get a call back. Now in the callback, I'm waiting a longer time in the waiting room. And this time, there are 4 other people who show up. Actually, only one is sharing the camera. That's the director. There was also the producer, the casting director, and the client from WestJet Airlines, which is what I was auditioning for. The spot, by the way, was for a grandfather who has a new granddaughter he's never met because of COVID. He's been waiting to meet her for more than a year. And at the top of the spot, we're going to see him getting his COVID shot so that he can get on a plane and actually meet this wonderful new person in his life for the first time. Before I tell you what actually happened with the director, what's really important is the preparation before, while I was in the waiting room, because that's where I scored the important points. So I'm in the waiting room and I'm thinking, I'm not a grandfather. I don't have grandchildren. What if they want to know something personal about me? They want me to improvise something. Might they? Oh yeah, they might very well. And today, that is becoming more of the norm. Why? Because by definition, these new auditions happen to be more impersonal. They want to see how much of your personality you can share at a distance. So I immediately thought of a wonderful child who happens to be in my life. She is now 2 years old, and she's the granddaughter of one of my closest friends. My friend often shares moments that happen in this kid's life, and they're absolutely wonderful. She shows me videos, she shows me photos, and I have actually met the child, and yes, I immediately fell in love with her. So I had her in my mind. And the audition begins. The director begins to talk to me. The first thing he asks me is to share my COVID experience with him. Here's what's important. When you share something personal, if you can apply it to the reality that's in the script, absolutely do so. And often you can, and keeping it real. In this case, I made it a point to share with him that I happen to be a very gregarious person, and although I've adjusted to lockdown, being away from people has been a really difficult challenge for me, which is, of course, what the grandfather is going through in the spot. And then he says to me, do you have a Victoria, that's the grandchild in the script, that's her name, do you have a Victoria in your life? I felt great. I smiled and said, absolutely. And I began to share with him moments that have touched me through my interaction with my Victoria. He felt it. He smiled. And the rest of our communication was like two friends just having a conversation. He asked me to do a few other things. We shared a couple of laughs. The audition was over, but before it ended, the casting director said, Louis, that was really great work. I know this casting director. She's a lovely person, but she doesn't always say that, and she's not obligated to say it. Why am I sharing this with you? Because this audition was an absolute win, whether I get the spot or not. And I just might. They're still a week away from going to camera, and I'm very confident about it. But it went so well. You must focus on what went well in all of your auditions. I'm going to emphasize that again later. So there are two things about this new world of auditions that you really should burn into your memory. One is to fall in love with change of any kind, no matter how unsettling it feels, because guess what? All change will unsettle you, because no one wants to face the unknown. The moment you give up your resistance to it, a whole new world opens up to you. You discover incredible opportunities, some of which didn't even exist in those good old times before. And the second thing is, be ready to go anywhere when you audition. By that I mean go anywhere emotionally, and be ready to open up about your personal life. Because more and more, that's becoming important. Who is this person that we might hire? Who are they authentically? And how can that enrich whatever role that we're going to cast them in? Because they're looking, remember these words, they're looking for you in the character. They're not just looking for the character that you can present. They want to see you coming through in that character. And your best bet for doing that is to remain totally open and to know that the script is important, but it's secondary to what in your life you can bring on the spur of the moment, on demand. Here's a tip, an image that might help you to be able to connect with any character you have to play. Remember that everything that any person experiences, you've experienced similar emotions. You can always, if you dig deeply enough into yourself, find a parallel and then allow it to be on the screen. And the way you do that is, no matter how far in the character's experience is to yours, trust, search inside yourself, and then build an empathy bridge between you and that character. And the character will suddenly come alive. And it not only feels great, you'll start to get more work. Now let's talk about the important technical things that you've got to have down without even thinking about them for all of these auditions going forward. The lighting. Your lighting, make sure there are no shadows on you and that you're not kind of lost in a white glare. Too many actors are ignoring this. The other thing is your sound. I don't care if you've got the latest smartphone or you're shooting your self-tapes with great cameras. I have a great camera here, but I always use an external mic. If I wasn't using an external mic now, you would hear every word I'm saying. But I would feel that I am at a distance, which means I am not connecting with you emotionally. And there would also be more echo in the room, which would get in the way of my connecting with you again and touching you. And if that happens in an audition, well, you're not helping your chances to get the role at all. Then the camera. Remember that you've got to look at the camera lens when you're talking to the person on the other side. When I'm interacting with that director, if I'm looking at him, I'm really not looking at him because my eyes won't be connected to his eyes. So remember that, as unnatural as it might feel, when you're interacting with a casting director or a director or producer, look directly into the lens. And don't ignore your set. Your set? Yeah. Everything that appears in the frame is in the story. Whatever's in the background. If it's a painting on the wall, it's making a statement. So make sure that the statement it's making is going to contribute to the audition that you're doing. If you're, like in my case, I was in front of my desktop computer and I have beautiful bookshelves behind me. But even then, I make sure that my camera is adjusted so that it's seeing the symmetry of those bookshelves. No extraneous objects, no clutter, nothing that's going to distract the viewer. And if you don't have a physical set that you like, then have the color backdrop that you would use for your self-tape auditions. Use that for those live Zoom auditions. A really important thing to remember, and this was true before we went into lockdown, and it's certainly very, very true now. Make every audition a win, which means focus on the fact that you gave your best. Learn to look at the things that worked. And even more importantly, let the audition go. Let go of all that stuff that your mind will create, that chatter that's going to tell you why you didn't do a good job and why you won't get that role. Because if you don't do that, it's going to sap your energy, your spirit, your drive. It even makes people give up on acting. So understand that there are factors totally outside of your control. Like if I don't get this, it's not because I give a bad audition. They may have seen a person with gray hair and decided that's the grandfather look we want. Could it be anything like that? Which has nothing to do with what I delivered, because I know that what I delivered was strong. Bring your best game. Trust that you always do. Own it. If you've gotten value from this, then definitely leave a comment in the comment field below. And if you haven't subscribed already, then give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. I promised you that I would give you some free training, and I'm a man of my word. You're going to find a link below to an ebook that I wrote. In fact, you'll see an image of it on the screen. Here it is. And this ebook teaches you everything you need to become totally confident and at ease with all of your self-tapes. All of the gear, the do's and don'ts, how to, well, basically how to be your best when you self-tape. You're also going to find below a link to my latest online course, Self-Taping Mastery, and that goes in and takes an even deeper dive into the everything about self-taping. And of course, I'm there with you moment to moment, taking you by the hand and guiding you towards success with your self-tapes. Go to the site, check out what I'm offering with all of the bonuses, and if you feel it's for you, hey, I'd love to get to know you better and help to guide you toward a great screen acting career. If it isn't for you, no problem. I always end with this reminder that when you're on camera and you have a script in your hand, the script is important, but it's secondary to the inner life that you bring to that script, which means the feelings that you that you share with the camera. So whenever you have a script in your hand, always feel it, say it, mean it, book it, go out and create a stellar career.